Hi, I'm Martin McGrath from Financial Edge Group, and today I want to talk to you about, in my opinion, what does an ideal retirement look like? What do the numbers stack up to? Everyone's got their different measurements, and there's no magical way to do it, but we've got a certain formula that we like to use or work towards retirement for clients. I'm going to take you through an example of that right now. Okay, so let's talk about a thing that I call the 20 times rule. And what that is if you can figure out how much you want to live off in retirement, and that's important, and essentially that's the first step, but if you can figure out how much you want to live off in retirement, to get, in my opinion, the ideal retirement, you want to have 20 times that worth in investment assets. So if that's $50,000, 20 times 50,000 is $1 million. If you want 100,000 a year, we need 2 million. If you want 500,000 a year, we need 10 million. So we need 20 times that figure. Everyone's got a different figure. It's not so much about what you need your nest egg, it's about what you need as your annual figure. Obviously, the lower that is, the easier 20 times calculation ends up being. So let's run through an example now. Okay, so let's look at an example, and I'm just going to use the figure of $50,000 because it makes my maths easier. But if we want 50,000 a year in retirement, and we want to protect our nest egg, and we want to have a comfortable retirement, leave an inheritance, this is how I think we should have it set up. 20 times 50,000 is $1 million. So let's start with $1 million. That's where we're trying to aim to get to. The way we invest, we're trying not to be too aggressive, we're trying to be conservative, and we base most of our numbers off in retirement around about a 5% return. Share market generally, or property generally, can get somewhere between 8 and 10%. Cash rates at the moment are closer to 1 or 2, but the right mix of all that and using a thing that we call a bucket approach to protect you, which ideally should get you about a 5% return on your money. So I'll take you through what those numbers look like. Okay, so this is fairly simple in some respects, but it's the ideal and the methodology I want to take you through. There's different levers that we calculate it, but in this case, if we're talking about we've got $1 million and we're getting a 5% return, that should make about $50,000 a year in income. And if our living expenses are that $50,000 a year, well, that means we're just living off the income, living off what it's generating. The capital itself is protected. So we've got $1 million, it makes 50,000, we live off 50,000, at the end of the year, we've still got our $1 million. So what that means is we can do that basically every year for the rest of our life and protect our nest egg. Ideally, if it's invested, we get a bit more than 5% and it grows a little bit with inflation, that might even grow. But that's the essence of trying to get that ideal retirement. How many people get there? Probably not as many as we would like. That's our goal, to try and help you get there, get to that 20 times. There's a few different things we can change with that. If your nest egg isn't enough, we reduce what you want to live off, or we perhaps eat a bit of that capital in, and we know the money won't last forever. But in my opinion, if we're planning for an ideal retirement, we've got years ahead of us to plan for this. This is the goal that we need to be shooting for. And personally, this is the goal that I'm shooting for, to help myself, my wife, and our families kind of get set up to make sure we can have this 20 times rule. So the nest egg of money we've built, we're not having to eat into that capital every year. We're just living off the cream on the top. So at the end of the year, we've still got that money invested. That effectively means that money will last forever. Hopefully this makes sense. There's different levers you can play with, what your return is, what your living expenses are, all that kind of stuff. But it's a nice, simple guide to figure out what do we think we want to live off? Times it by 20. Do we have that? Do we need more? Do we need less? Feel free to have a chat with us. There's shortcuts, there's ways to get there, to save a lot on tax, invest in the right name, all that stuff. Here's just a simple goal and a rule about how to try and get us there in the most effective manner. If you've got a particular question about your situation, feel free to pick up the phone, have a chat with us, or jump on our website at financialedgegroup.com.au.